We'll try recording to the cloud next time. All right.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome to a special episode of The Usual Saints. I'm Mike D. Jeremy is laughing. You can't see him until we put this up on YouTube. And Vinny didn't laugh, so I appreciate that, Vinny. Thank you.
I'm laughing at Jeremy.
Vinny knows what a radio announcer intro voice sounds like. We went to broadcasting schools. We're professionals. Jeremy over there, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, all I know is you could probably sell some used cars. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. I don't have any desire to do that at this time, though. So we are bringing to you a special. Why is this telling me to start this? Sorry, Zoom's making me a stupid thing. We're in that meeting, so I'm gonna have to edit this out. But anyway, sorry guys. I had a little pop-up. We're doing a special episode of The Usual Saints today because we are interviewing State Representative for Florida, Anna Escamani. We have 15 minutes of her time, so me, Vinny, and Jeremy wanted to get started.
Warm up.
Yeah, warm up. We got 5 minutes before she's supposed to pop in. So
that's cool. Now, what are we supposed to call her? Anna?
She's really cool. You call her whatever the hell you want.
Representative Escamani.
That's probably the professional
Your Royal
thing.
Highness.
I guess she's earned the title, so I'll call her Representative Escamani. Until she goes, call me Anna.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, I've met her a few times when I was working at the news station on various shoots. Actually, I met her the first time before she won in 2018, and so I get told to go to Lake Eola in Orlando and look for someone. And Lake Eola, I don't know if you guys know it, it's a huge park and there's always like tons of stuff going on around it before COVID. Mm-hmm. And so I'm texting someone, I'm not knowing who I'm texting, thinking it's just some representative for her campaign, and it's her. And so I'm just bullshitting with her, not knowing that it's this. But she's so cool. Like I met her and before she left, and then I met her at other campaign events, and
Right.
I think we have similar ideologies, her and I. So let's see what Jeremy says. But
Right.
Jeremy, I always got to call you out. You're the most conservative one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy's like,
Right.
So we'll see how this goes. It should be fun, a good 15 minutes. Plus, it's our first guest, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's a good get for our first guest. I've been having other ideas for other guests too, besides the one we've talked about. The ones who are reaching out to us. Like, we could even go like in the direction of, I have an interest in cosplay, so I mean, I can reach out to some cosplayers and see,
Sure.
They might be boring, but we'll find out.
Something away from politics.
Yeah, we could have fun with them anyway.
Jeremy, the first people I reached out to were away from politics, but I did not get any responses from any of them. I reached out to like several members of the Howard Stern show staff. I reached out to like some famous actors, reached out to Kevin Spacey, as we've discussed. So
Weird Al Yankovic.
I did. That's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not hear from Weird Al. I would love nothing more than to get 15 minutes of Weird Al's time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's funny, guys.
He might not enjoy it much.
You never know. He might enjoy it. I don't know.
I mean, what's he doing lately? I don't know.
No, he's not touring right now.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. Like, Vinny, he's still putting out music. I mean, what was it, 5 years ago now? He had like the #1 album for the first time in his career. So
really,
yeah, Mandatory Fun. It was it was a good album. I didn't think it was much different than any other album, but it just hit at the right time where people wanted that, and it was the first time he ever went to #1. So he was pretty excited about that.
Wow. Weird Al Yankovic songs going to #1.
Well, that's
insane.
This beret here, that's from the tour. Mandatory Fun. He dressed up like a North Korean dictator. How do I get that? Can't put this on top of my headphones. There we go. And so, it's just a little bit of fun stuff. But that's it. Oh, and hey, guess what, guys? I went to the doctor this morning. I don't know how much we can talk about, just filling time until the representative shows up. I got my stitches removed. That's awesome, my sutures. But
Excellent.
I said, hey, so can I get my doctor's note to go back to work on Monday? He's like, what do you do again? Do you do camera stuff? And I said, no, I used to do that. I do, or, I work for some other company now that, we've talked about, we're not talking about. So I'm like, yeah, I do a lot of computer work and a lot of field work, driving. He's like, oh yeah, you're not doing that.
Wow.
So
Nice.
he told me basically I'm not allowed to go back to work for another month at least.
Are you shitting
Oh,
me?
wow.
No.
Wow. What's work?
Not even
What's
not
work
even
gonna
the
say?
office work part, huh?
No, I mean, he didn't really specify that I couldn't do computer work, but yeah. So I
mean,
texted.
you're one-handed.
I know. I texted my boss. I texted her to the sheet that said, "Hey, I can't go back for a month," and she started texting me saying that she was cool about it. And then she was like, "I think you have to fill out new paperwork, blah blah blah." So I just called her and I was like, "No, I already filled out FMLA. It's good till April 3rd or something like that." So that's for the physical therapy. So I said it just sucks that I'm going to have to use up more of my sick time and vacation time now, but I want it to heal properly, so I'm going to follow whatever the doctor says. So
FMLA, huh? What is that? Fuck My Life Association?
Federal Medical Leave Act.
Family Medical Leave Act.
Family, whatever. That was close.
You were close. It's
You
good
could
for
have
any.
just gone with it.
I could have
Yeah.
just gone with it, but I want to correct you and make sure you know what you're talking about.
So I was way off then.
You're a little bit off, but it's okay.
All right.
It pretty much keeps the government from or your job from firing you for not being at work.
And
No, that's a good thing.
that's exactly what it is. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't
good.
anticipating being out this long, so it'll be interesting. Jeremy's leaving at 11 a.m. just as the representative is supposed to show up in the room. But he's got his AirPods in so he can still hear us.
Yeah.
And we can hear him
Walk
off
around.
mic.
What's he doing? His morning stretches?
I don't know what he's doing. He just woke up. I call, the princess needs to get out of bed and get ready and take a warm shower and stuff, but he's going to go back to bed after this, so, or he's going to try to. He's going to be tired tonight.
I showered and dressed almost all the way.
What does that mean?
Yeah, use your imagination.
Means we only see the upper half. And we're happy about it.
Oh, I thought he meant he showered while he was dressed almost all the way. And I was like, what? What does that mean? Like, are you doing what do they call that? Like where you go to a sink? What do they call that? Some kind of bath.
Sponge bath.
I don't
Sponge
know.
bath.
You go to a sink and you just kind of give yourself a quick rub down.
A bird bath. A bird bath. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That wouldn't work for me.
No. It wouldn't work well for me either. With the physical therapy starting next week, we'll see how that goes. I feel like it's going to be painful.
A month off, huh? That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll be able to catch up on all my shows and movies. My Netflix list should be pretty bare by the time I get around to it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let's see. But that's about all I have for now. Jeremy, what time did you get to bed last night?
5.
5 a.m.?
Yeah, a little earlier than I normally would. But
So you got like 5 hours sleep.
5 a.m.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to go back to sleep after this. Sleep till about 2.
Yeah, we'll see if we'll let you. We might want to keep you on for an extra long show. We'll just put out a special bonus episode.
So long show.
Yeah, that's
Special report. Special report.
That's probably not going to happen.
Oh gosh. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Waiting. So let's just wait. I'll cut this part out. I don't want to keep filling time unless I have anything to say.
Oh, what I was going to say is I got a news alert that some little punk at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas down in Parkland, where
Yeah.
the shooting was a couple years ago,
Right.
yelled out shots fired at the school.
Are you shitting me? What an
They
asshole.
went on to lockdown and police responded and yeah.
Like a student at the
Dumbass.
school.
I think that's what they're implying. Yeah. Some student thought it would be funny.
Shots fired. Wow.
Didn't.
That's ballsy.
Today's not the
Yeah,
anniversary or anything,
that-
right? It's in February.
No,
I think it's
Valentine's
Valentine's Day. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like yelling fire in a crowded theater. That's
Sure, right.
criminal.
Yeah,
Hopefully-
absolutely.
Hopefully arrest his ass and throw him in jail. And
Yeah.
This is one of the things me and Jeremy can agree on. He posted something on Facebook about how
I was gonna. That's one of my questions.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
Let's do it.
wait. I was very shocked that me and Jeremy agreed on something, and I'm actually even more shocked that I agree with Rick Scott and Marco Rubio on something for a change.
I
Wow.
thought that would be the part that would shock you. But
No,
all right.
that is the most shocking thing because I don't know if I told you guys the story, but when I was working in news a few years ago, and they were covering the toxic algae on the Treasure Coast here.
Yeah.
Bill Nelson, who I really like, he's a real personable guy. He came down. He went on a Harbor Branch boat or some scientific boat to go do the tour and see the toxic algae and everything like that. So he's like a man of the people kind of thing, checking out the science, that kind of thing. Marco Rubio, because every senator had to come, of course. He arrives on some contributor's yacht. Huge yacht, and just pulls up to the dock, gets off the boat, totally rude, totally an asshole as soon as he gets off the boat. So that's the thing, man. Even if for media, we're still your constituents, and so the way he presented himself, he left a really bad taste in my mouth that day. So.
Yeah.
I'm not
That would.
Sounds like Bill Nelson did too, but in a different way.
Seems what? Are you hooked up to your Ethernet again? You started cutting out again.
I was saying it sounds like Bill Nelson probably left a bad taste in your mouth too, but in a different way.
Jeremy's inferring that I gave Bill Nelson a blowjob. That's nice.
Thanks for having to explain that.
Hey, if it gets things done, let's do it. Okay.
I didn't know. And hey, Bill Nelson was mentioned in the Challenger documentary that we were talking about in the last episode. I didn't know that. I kind of knew he went to space, but that always confused me because I never did any research on it. He wasn't like an astronaut or anything. They sent a senator and a congressperson to space in the 80s. And so the senator was some guy named Jeff Garn or something like that. But Bill Nelson was the congressperson that got to go up to space. And then
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That payload operator that I was telling you guys about, Greg Jarvis, that died on the Challenger, he actually got bumped from both missions by the senator and then by Bill Nelson. So he would have been on either of those two missions instead of the one he was going on.
Challenger. Wow.
So I mean, it's just kind of a crazy
luck of the draw.
Yeah, crazy thing to think about.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know Bill Nelson went to space.
Yeah, I don't know what he did up there, but
it's probably one of those up and back things.
Well, no, I mean, you get sent to space on a shuttle. You assume you have to be up there for a week, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of money to just go for a joyride.
Yeah.
And I think the ones in the early '80s were only going up for 4 or 5 days at a time. It wasn't until later on they started staying up for like 12 days.
Gotcha. Okay.
First, they were real short. Well, the original plan was to send a shuttle up like every week. They thought they'd be able to turn those things around in a month.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't work out that way.
Mm-mm.
No, it's a little bigger endeavor than they expected.
I was surprised on the Challenger documentary. I didn't realize how cold it was that day. I always heard about how cold it was. There were literally icicles hanging from, the platform where the Challenger was, the space shuttle itself, and things like that, because the citrus crops had all frozen and it dropped like below freezing, and so that's how cold it was, and they still decided to launch that shuttle. I mean, that's idiotic.
Yeah, and then they say under 55 degrees, don't go.
Under 53. I don't know how that was the magic number, but that's a scientist and engineer that is telling me that. So, it says I got a message from the reps representative, the reps spokesperson,
The reps rep.
saying that she's running late, but she'll be there soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's see. So we got a little bit of time to kill. We can kill some of those topics we had on our list that we didn't get around to, such as, let's see, internet recipes. What the hell? Who put that on there and why?
That's got to be Jeremy.
Well, yeah.
Jeremy, what?
Yeah. Have you guys ever tried any of those things you see online? I don't know if they ever show up on your feeds or on your social media at all, but I've from people. Some of those recipes are freaking amazing.
Yeah. Well, I've gone online to get recipes, like from the Food Network and stuff like that, but I've never just taken somebody else's recipe. Like off Facebook, somebody will make a cake or something, they'll put the recipe up.
We saw one for dump cakes off of Facebook where you don't have to mix anything. You just put it all in a pan and layers with some butter on top and put it in the oven.
Really?
It's phenomenal.
I could make something like that. That sounds simple.
It was very simple. The hardest part is cutting up the butter. That's it.
Yeah, this is definitely a Jeremy thing. I remember you sent out that recipe about Big Mac in a bowl to the group.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
That shit is awesome. You have no idea how good that is. Holy crap.
It probably would be good. I mean, I like a Big Mac, just as a Big Mac, but throw it in a bowl and it's party time.
No, the only thing I've ever tried, and it wasn't even me, it was Heather, because the soup, the chicken gnocchi soup at Olive Garden is so delicious. I asked her to try cooking it at home, and so she got in recipe offline because Olive Garden's not just going to release that, and she thought it was good. I didn't think it was that good. The thing is, she made a whole pot full, like a huge pot full of it, and so she was eating it for a while after that, and that's when she told me she was never going to try to cook anything like that again.
You didn't feel obligated to eat it, huh?
I tried, and it just wasn't as good. I'm sorry. I got to be honest. I'm not one to just placate someone for their feelings or their effort or whatnot.
No, that's true.
I mean, it was thinner than the Olive Garden soup. It wasn't as thick and creamy, and it wasn't as good. But it's not her fault. We tried this recipe offline. I like her cooking skills. She'll tell me that. She'll tell anyone.
How the hell does your wife cook for you at all anymore?
Yeah, no, I mean, what she cooks, I think I like her breaded chicken is like amazing. I wish she would start a restaurant with that almost. But it's just certain things just don't always work out the best. But that's not reflective of her cooking skills, I would say. And then the other one was, what was the other one that we were covering? Let's see, investment retirement plans. Who put that on there? Oh. Yeah. That's Jeremy's. Jeremy's putting these really wonderful educational topics on there. But that leads into the whole GameStop and Wall Street Bets thing. T-Man is entering the room. Here we go. Let's see if it connects properly. There I see. Hello, Representative Escamani. How are you doing?
Hi, fam. Sorry I'm late. It's been a hectic Friday.
No worries. You're a busy person. You're doing stuff up at the Capitol. I get it. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on our podcast. This is The Usual Saints. I'm Mike D. I met you a few years ago. Don't know if you remember. You meet a lot of people.
Yeah, I was with Spectrum, I think.
That's right. Correct.
Yeah, totally. Great to see you again.
Good to see you. I've moved away from news, so I'm not doing that, but I'm doing this. We got two of our other guys here. We got Jeremy and Vinny.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hello.
Good. Great to be here.
You are our inaugural guest. You're our first guest ever.
Oh.
Lots of pressure.
There you go.
That's an honor.
There's a T-shirt on the way.
Okay, I'm waiting for that. I'm holding you to it.
Vinny, now you got to send one down from Atlanta.
Yeah, I know. I think I got one in my drawer somewhere. I'll send it down there.
That's awesome.
So,
very cool.
I don't know. I mean, I talked to Cheyenne a little bit about the podcast. I mean, what we do is we just talk a little bit about, whatever is on our minds and whatnot. We don't really have a set thing. We're not like political. We're not pop culture. We're not movies, but we cover everything in one spot. So, I knew you from the campaign. I knew how cool you were and how personally I agree with a lot of the stuff that you're doing. Maybe not everyone does, but so I was like, let's reach out to her, and I'm glad to have you. But I know we only have a short time with you, so I want to make sure we get some questions in, and to let you talk about whatever you have, because I know there's a lot of stuff you've been doing. I follow you on Facebook, so you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, we're super busy. That sounds awesome, and I probably I think around 11:30 I need to hop off, so we have some time. So yeah.
All right. Well, Vinny, I said I was going to let you go first. What you got for Representative?
Well, thank you from me for coming on to the podcast. We appreciate it. Do you want me to call you Representative Escamani, or can I call you Anna? Or
you can call me Anna. Yeah.
Okay. Anna. Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Well, you've earned your title, so I wanted to be respectful for that. I'm actually doing this from Georgia. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and my rep is Lucy McBath.
Oh, wow. She's a rock star.
Yeah. Do you know her? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you?
Of course.
But what I wanted to ask, and just real quickly, since COVID-19 is the big thing, of course, everybody's worried about it. I was wondering, as far as the state of Florida is concerned, because I looked at the numbers and I see that they're going up again, as is everybody's really. But I was wondering if there was any chance of a mandate coming out for masks and that type of thing, because the protocol is there, but a lot of people aren't paying attention to it. So I was wondering what your thoughts were as far as getting it mandated and, really enforcing it. We just talked about this the other night about, enforcing these mandates if they come out.
Great question. A great question, Vinny. I mean, we have been pushing for a statewide mask mandate since the very beginning of this pandemic, and our governor has just completely dismissed the concept. It's ironic because he said it was a local government decision, but then he also preempted local governments from enforcing these mandates. So the way things stand in Florida now is local governments can put into place mask requirements, but they actually can't enforce them because the governor took away their ability to do that. So at this point, Florida really doesn't have a mask mandate. I mean, we've been pushing to model the best behavior. I really encourage the business community to step up and, implement within their doors these protocols, because at that point, at least it can be both a cultural change effort to say wearing a mask is the right thing to do, but of course accountability within the private sector.
Right.
But it's been a challenge. The governor has been anti-science from the beginning, and he gets it from former President Trump, which I love to be able to say.
Yes.
But that's where we are right now, and so it's really unfortunate because even in the legislature, so we're back in committee weeks, right? We have mask requirements like for all the members to follow, and we have testing that we're taking like the week before session starts. Every single week there has been new legislative colleagues with COVID. And most recently there was some tension because two lawmakers, both in the Leon County delegation, so they're both representing parts of the Panhandle.
Right.
One got COVID first, the other got it shortly after, and they were together in a delegation meeting, and he wasn't wearing his mask, and she was, and she was sitting next to him, and so she's almost certain that's where it came from. And so again, it's like we have all this science now, we have all these resources, and folks just won't follow the rules. I think if I get COVID, it's going to be less like in the district and more in the building in Tallahassee, because folks are not being responsible.
Yeah, I don't understand why people don't wear the mask. I mean, it's like you're drowning and somebody throws you a life preserver and you don't use it. I mean, to me, it's just common sense. I mean, even if you don't fully believe in wearing the mask, do it for other people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But thank you for that. And how do you feel about Joe Biden so far? Are you excited about the things that he's doing?
Oh yeah, I love that question. It's funny. I'm so overwhelmed with just like Florida stuff that I try to read NPR at night or turn on the news at night so I can kind of see like what's coming out of the administration, because I've just been catching pieces of it. I think his executive orders were spot on. A lot of his work is just reversing things that have been going down the wrong direction. And so I really, really appreciated, the reversals on things like DACA, on extending the eviction protection order for those affected by COVID-19, LGBTQ plus rights. I really think the relief package that he is rolling out is smart. I mean, it not only includes immediate relief, but includes systematic economic changes like increasing minimum wage for everyone, eliminating the sub wage, which has disproportionately applied to the disability community, which is messed up. I mean, it's basically we've given ourselves permission to pay folks with disabilities less for their work, and that's inappropriate. So I think there's a lot of good parts of this package. Obviously, larger questions remain around healthcare access. Like, what are we going to do to make sure every person has access to healthcare in this country?
Absolutely.
And his international approach. Obviously, it's been only a week or so in, but he is reigniting the energy accords. For the Paris Accords for climate change. He is reconnecting with NATO. And I thought it was really cool. There was a video his administration did that showed the conversation he had with NATO leaders. And it was really interesting because it kind of opened up international politics to everyday people. And I do think that there's a knowledge gap
Oh,
for
definitely.
Americans, right? To what's
Definitely.
happening around. And I studied international relations when I was at UCF. So my academic background early on was more geopolitics and kind of looking at the U.S. role, around the world, which has unfortunately not been the best. And so,
Right.
allowing for more public engagement in foreign relations, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that unfolds.
That's great. Well, those are my couple of questions since we're short on time. So I'm going to pass it on to Jeremy. Jeremy?
Hi. So I don't always agree with everyone else on politics, but we found one topic we agreed on, which I think a lot of people in the country might agree on, and that is term limits for representatives and senators and whatnot. And I was just curious because it'd be voting to limit your own career
Right.
for most of those people. So what do you see as one, do you support them? And two, if you do, how do you see getting there when people have to vote I'm not going to vote to lose my job. So how do we get there?
Yeah, that's a great question, Minnie. So we actually do have term limits in Florida. So I have a term limit of 8 years in the state legislature. So do senators. Of course, you can serve those 8 years and then, run for something else, right? And it's an interesting dynamic when we talk about term limits and length of stay. Because I will say in Tallahassee, when term limits got put into place, yes, we were able to see the removal of lawmakers, like no matter what incumbency power they had, right? But at the same time, it has given more influence to lobbyists, because what ended up happening is that lobbyists have so much more influence and institutional knowledge compared to lawmakers. And so we do see this disparity where the special interests have almost conquered the process in Tallahassee, because as soon as a lawmaker gets their feet wet, they're out. Now, to that point, I feel like I'm at an advantage because I've been following the legislative process for a long time. When I got to Tallahassee, my feet were already wet, and so I was able to kind of hit the ground running. And I feel confident that in 8 years, if I even stay that long, there'll be good work to be done. So I think term limits are smart because when we look at any type of nonprofit board, for example, there's always term limits, and the point of it is that it allows new blood to come in, fresh perspectives. But at the same time, if you have the same CEO that's there for like 20 odd years, that CEO can wield a lot of influence over new board members. So I think there is a balance to ask ourselves, how many years is enough? There has been some conversation among lawmakers of two things. One is that the part-time legislature that we have is not enough to actually get the job done. We're only in Tallahassee for about 3 months of the year, and we only have 60 days to pass a budget. And so there has been a lot of debate around, is that enough time? And then the other side of that coin is, have term limits helped or hindered us? And so again, I think term limits are smart. There is a well-meaning debate around, is it 8 years or is it 12 years, right? Like what would be or is it 10 years or is it less? Like what is that, what's the happy number, I guess, that everyone can kind of agree doesn't give lobbyists too much influence, but it also allows for there to be fresh blood coming into the legislature. In my case, in my race, we were going to go up against an incumbent. That was like, everything we were planning was to go against an incumbent, flip a seat. And then he decided to run for Congress, so the seat became empty as we were about to file. I think he knew we were coming, so he, left to go run for something else. But I have always supported term limits and think that it's smart for us to create space for new people. And you look at Congress and the U.S. Senate. I mean, people are like dinosaurs, right? Like, and they and they don't reflect the everyday people, and they do have way too much power in being influenced by special interest. And so it's just wild to me, you look at Washington and it's like, you don't see yourself there. It's changing, but you really don't see yourself there from a generational perspective because of the folks who've just been there for so freaking long.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Particularly,
Mike, I'll let you ask a question just so we don't run out of time before you get to ask something.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I do have a question, but I mean, just to touch on the race thing, I mean, running for House, especially, I mean, even in the state or the United States, doesn't matter, every 2 years. I mean, basically, as soon as you get elected, you have to start prepping another run. I mean, that's crazy to me. I don't know.
Disgusting. Yeah. And if you're someone like me, like, so I don't take money from corporations, right? Like, and so and I've actually become even more strict about that value over time, which is really interesting because in most cases, when you get elected, then you see that lawmakers start like banking in on being an incumbent. And for me, I've actually rejected more money than accepted in my second term, which I'm really proud of. But it does create challenges because every time I say no to a corporate donor, it puts a target on my back, right? Because now they hate me for
Sure.
it.
Absolutely.
And two, I got to find that money somewhere else. And so the second you win, like you are back on the campaign trail. And you know, right now I'm actually in the process of trying to update some of my fundraising like tools. Like we have a political committee that's complementary to the work that we raise in my campaign account, but because of redistricting and honestly, I don't know what I'm running for yet in 2022. There's like a lot of chatter about what folks are encouraging me to do and that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to start raising money into my political committee. But I got to get all that set up. And, I don't have like the consultants doing it. Like it's a bunch of scrappy volunteers, so it just takes like extra time to get it done. And it's exhausting, like literally, in my head, like in addition to like responding to the flood of emails we have about unemployment issues and getting all my bills filed for session and my day job on top of it, I'm thinking about raising money next week and, who am I going to reach out to and what are those conversations going to look like? And so yeah, it's quite draining. But it's democracy. And, I knew what I was getting myself into when I committed to do this work. So I don't complain about it, but yeah, it's overwhelming for sure. Especially when you want to do it the right way.
Right.
Well, you definitely seem passionate about it. That's for sure.
Thank
And
you.
that's what you need, in
Absolutely.
politics is somebody with passion rather than deep pockets.
And I wasn't going to touch on that thing you kind of hinted at until the end, but I mean, have you given any serious thought to a gubernatorial run in 2022? I know you got to think about your term right now. That's what you're focused on, but
right. Wow, Mike, it's funny. I think I'm out of time now.
Oh, look at the time. Darn.
Listen, did not expect Mike to be the one to run her off. All right.
We can skip that for now if you're
not sure. We can talk about it. We should totally talk about it. So yes, I mean, there has been all of this incredible grassroots energy about me running for governor. And I say that because it's not coming from lobbyists. It's not coming from even reporters. It's not coming from consultants that are like planting my name in places. Like it's literally from the grassroots up. And it was so funny. There's been a few different like blogs written about, who can run statewide, and a few of them like omit my name, and it's totally on purpose. And then they get called out for it by grassroots people who are like, oh, why isn't Anna on your list? Because the influencers, they don't want me anywhere near that, right? Because if we were to do that, we would be pissing off Democrats and Republicans in the establishment, because corporate money is not a red versus blue issue. Like there is way too much corporate money in politics, and Democrats are guilty of consenting to that and accepting that, just like the Republican Party is. And we would be the contrast to say that ain't right, and to really like build that grassroots energy around a government for the people, by the people, elected to serve the people. And so I am seriously considering it, because that would be a game changer. And I don't see any other candidate who does that, and who does that with grit and with grace and with empathy, and who can actually work across the aisle. Like one of the most conservative Republicans just co-sponsored one of my bills. You know what I mean? Like we do have those moments. And even in my district here in Orlando, we won 2 precincts that voted for President Trump. 2 precincts that said, we're voting for Trump, also voted for me, this little brown girl. And so I think that's really cool. And it speaks to like our people-centered work. And to your point, Mike, like, this coming weekend, we're actually hosting a community canvas for our district. It's not political. We're not talking about voting. We're going to be going to people's doors, leaving them information about our legislative office. We don't care what your party is. We just want you to know that we're here for you. And I think more and more people are hungry for just authenticity, and they're hungry for someone who is just listening to them and cares about them. And we had someone really angry, like call our office as an example. And I won't go into the issues of what they were angry about, but they called our office, they were really pissed. And, I spoke to him this morning where we might be filing a bill that he suggested to us. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's also those moments of just like embrace the tension. Let's talk about it. Treat everyone with kindness. Mr. Rogers is an honorary. He's an honorary constituent because he went to school at Rollins College, which is in my district. So I always just think about, this mentality of like, all boats rise together. We need, my neighbors, when my neighbors are doing better, I'm also doing better because we all are within this ecosystem together. And so you have to be able to build a multi-class, multiracial, and multi-generational movement to do good work in Florida. And we're doing that. So imagine that amplified, to something statewide. So we're thinking big, we're dreaming big, but I'm also not naive. And I don't want to hit and miss. I really want to make sure that whatever we do is thoughtful to the people of Florida and is building infrastructure long-term for our work. I don't want to make this jump and disappoint people and not be able to deliver what we need to deliver to actually win. So we're going through all of that right now, and we'll definitely keep the world posted.
All right. Well, that sounds great. I think, judging by your timeline, I think we're out of time. So, but I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope if you have anything you want to promote or anything in the future, you feel free to reach out. You guys,
yes,
we'd love to have you on.
Absolutely.
Even if you just wanted to, just talk about whatever we talk about, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Well, thanks for the invitation. This was super fun, and I would love to come back anytime. And of course, if your listeners need me or have questions, you can always just reach out. We're at annaforflorida.com. Just drop us an email, and we'll definitely be there to help and hear what you got to say.
That sounds great. Thank you, Anna.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate it.
See you soon.
Take care.
Oh, that was awesome. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Jeremy had a question. He had a good lengthy answer there too. That was good. Did she touch on the points you wanted her to touch on? Yeah.
She did very open about everything. That was awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, like she said, I really wasn't going to go to the gubernatorial question. We just were running out of time, and she touched on it. I'm like, well, let me go ahead and touch on that since you go ahead and kind of laughed about it a little bit.
Yeah, I was curious about that too. Anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, people like you heard her say, they're putting her name out there, whether it's bloggers or, just grassroots campaigns. I mean, I think I've seen it in some like not newspaper, but media articles on Facebook and whatnot. But, again, she's this is her third year now of being a House rep in Florida. So like she says, if she shoots her shot and she misses, I mean, she can't just stay in her seat because if she starts running for another seat, I think that means that her seat opens up to run for. I'm not totally 100% on that, but I think
that's what happened with the incumbent that she was going against. Yeah.
I know a lot of people running for president also run for their Senate seat and stuff still because they know they're not actually going to become president. So they run two campaigns.
Right, but I don't know if the state level seats are different than like a federal level seat, and plus those might be different election years. This would be the same election year. She'd be running for governor in 2022, and she'd have to run again for her House seat in 2022. So
it always annoys me that our governor is off schedule with the presidential election because there's a lot less people go vote.
Yeah, I see that, but that's why voting by mail is good. Just send everyone a ballot, and we'll be good to go.
There you go.
That's another conversation that Jeremy doesn't have time for because he needs to go to sleep. Did I touch a sore point there, Jeremy? I don't know.
No, I have no problem. You just got to verify who it is that's voting on the thing. That's my only issue.
With like what, a notary? Everyone has to become a public notary?
I don't see why there's any issue with verifying who it is that's placing the vote.
How so, though? What do you mean by that? And again, I'm not trying to get into a long podcast about this, but
no, I had to register to vote, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, I had to sign up and say I want to vote.
Right.
I had to prove who I was to do that. Why should I not have to prove, hey, it's me actually showing up to vote, or in some other way, this is my one vote? I mean, it shouldn't be that hard.
they're matching signatures. Like in Heather's case, they didn't reject it, but they actually sent her a letter saying that, hey, your signature does not look the same as what we have on file, so we need you to fill out this form and bring it back in, or send, I brought it back in personally. I don't know if I could mail it back in, but she had to fill out a new form with her new signature on it. And so they do match the signatures. It's not like it's just, oh, they just open it up, don't look at anything. Mine matched enough to the point where they didn't. And this was the first time I'd ever voted by mail in this last, I think it was the primary last year I started, and I'll never turn back. I don't miss those lines. I worked the election last year, but not having those lines at the polling places especially for the general election, was tremendous. Like, there were so many people that voted by mail or voted early that I think we had 400 people show up to vote at the precinct I worked at. That's insane. And that's for a presidential election.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens in the future. We'll see if the state or, the federal government or someone puts the kibosh on that. I hope they don't, because I think it increased turnout. This last election was the most we've ever had. I think was 165 million, 160 million people, something like that. So that's crazy. All right, guys.
Most of them alive.
You son of a bitch. All right. Well, I want to thank Florida State Representative Anna Escamani for being our first guest, and hopefully she'll come back.
She's kind of hot too.
Sure, Vinny, I knew he'd have to touch on that.
Yeah.
Vinny couldn't even look at the screen. He's looking down at the keyboard when he's talking to her.
She's got a nice smile. She's nice. She's very personable. Which makes her more attractive.
Exactly.
So.
That's what we need in government, not just attractive people, but like people who
say, where are you going with this?
But he mentioned personable people who are about the people. You heard her say that. I think she was basically saying that, and tell me if I'm wrong, what you guys inferred, that she took a call from someone who was angry. I feel like that means a constituent of hers who may not agree with her political beliefs, but she just said that she's probably going to introduce a bill based on what that person said. So that's what it takes, is just, you got to listen to the people and you got to help those people out. We didn't even get to touch on what she's done. I mean, she's helped out, I think, tens of thousands of people with unemployment benefits in this past year with the pandemic going on. Like, personally, like, she's taken the charge on doing that. That's not her job, but she does that. And so, I mean, I think she does great work. I follow her on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. And,
well, like I said, she seems very passionate about it, and that's what you need. I mean, somebody who really cares about her constituents, or just people in general, not just her constituents, but. We need more of her in politics, more people like her. And maybe there are a lot of her, people like her out there, but, they just don't want to get into the system of being bought out and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm sure there's a lot of good people who have gotten into it and were like, yeah, this isn't for me, Yeah. But anyway.
It's hard to compete against the money that the other side will put in, like she said.
Exactly. I mean, and the crazy thing is, just like you said, Mike, I mean, as soon as you get that seat, you got to start campaigning for your next term, so it's like, you're trying to, like she said, she's got a day job too. So she's trying to do her day job. She's trying to do the stuff for, her seat and campaign at the same time. So
I've never been a fan of the House of Representatives in the state or federal. I mean, 2 years is just too much. Like, because think about it. Before every presidential, I apologize. Before every presidential campaign, when do you hear about the candidates? 2 years before. And so, like I said before, you're basically running as soon as you get reelected.
Exactly.
And so that's just insane to me. Give them at least 4 years. Senators, senators at 6 years, I don't know, like that, but it is what it is. But at least they don't have to start campaigning right away.
I'd be good with the 4 years. Let's just make it. They can only be there for 12 in that position.
Exactly, right. Don't make it a lifelong thing, like a pope or whatever.
I didn't know state representatives in Florida had term limits, so that's actually cool to learn from her. I know we were talking about, national with what Rubio and Scott are trying to introduce. But all right, guys. Well, I think that's been a really great episode, special episode of The Usual Saints. I'll put this one up as soon as I can.
Now I gotta go buy a T-shirt.
you gotta put The Usual Saints logo on it.
Gotta put Usual Saints on there. Yeah.
You gotta send it to our office.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You're just gonna grab like an old white T-shirts with
Just
armpit
a,
stains.
just
in
a
it.
Hanes Under Armour, or, you know,
send her a Superman
yeah.
T-shirt or something.
That's right.
All right, guys. Well, again, as always, you can reach out to us. You can call 240-724-6877. That's 240-SAINTS with 3 S's. You can email us at usualsaints@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to Representative Escamani, what did you say it was? Anna@annaforflorida.com, I think.
That's right.
And if not,
Mhm.
okay, you guys said that's right. If not, you can just Google her. She's easy to find. For Jeremy and Vinny, I'm Mike D. Thanks for listening to a special episode of The Usual Saints.
Peace.
I always know that's when we're going to end because Vinny will say peace and, Saint, you'll usually say something else. So I'm like, I always leave those in. It's great. All right, guys. I know Jeremy wants to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Jeremy doesn't want to, stay up too much longer.
Right. I'm going to DoorDash.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, this is fun. I'm thinking maybe our next episode is the Saturday before the Super Bowl, the 6th, depending on Vinny's schedule.
I got plans that night, but we can figure something out.
Oh, okay. Well, we can figure out. We'll work around it. Just keep in touch regarding schedules and whatnot.
Yeah.